Welcome everyone. How is your day? No? So, by the way, I'm Shamir Eborda Lim, your speaker for today. So, before we start, I'll have some rules to be presented just to make sure that this class will go as smooth as possible. And I call this the speaker rules. So first, we have respect everyone. Respect everybody, including your colleague, classmate, and me. So the second is raise your hand if you want to answer in our Gmeet, since we use this as our mode of learning. So if you want to answer, raise your hand, then tell your last name before you answer. Are we clear? Good. So even if you are in your own homes, please act accordingly, just like in a proper class. So I want you to behave accordingly, listen properly, so that this discussion will be a success. So the last one is you must wear proper attire. Here today to teach you mathematics, so you better be prepared. But don't worry, I'll try my very best to make the learning success. Due to pandemic, we faces a lot of trials, and there are various things we did adjust in order to cope up. That's why learning happens through online, since it is still prohibited to have a face-to-face class. But I heard that some schools are already have their face-to-face, but sadly here in our school, it is not allowed yet. So, all in all, it is nothing new to us. I know some of you and most of you have already adjusted to this kind of platform. And we accepted the fact that there's nothing we can do about it. So, as you can see, I have a quote here saying that a good teacher teaches the subject matter with mastery, but an ideal teacher makes the subject easy. And I do hope that I become that ideal teacher who will make this subject, which is mathematics, easy, since I know most of the students really hate this subject. All men are faithful. Is the statement true or false? Sa aking nakikita, ang ating mga kababaihan ay nagwawala. So, parang may mapait na pinagdaraanan ng ating mga kababaihan. So, what are the answer? Is the statement true or false? Yes, the statement is false. Ay, wag na kayong magmaangan boys. So, the second one is ladies prefer handsome guy. Oh, this is for the boys again. This is for the boys too. So, what do you think? Ladies prefer handsome guy. Is it true or false? Yes, the answer is true. They prefer handsome guy. So, COVID sucks. Is the statement true or false? Yes, I do agree in you also. COVID really sucks. I know, I have some personal experience. We all have personal experience, and in our case, because of COVID, because of pandemic, our batch, some of our classmates did not finish and stop their study because of COVID. And I think if COVID didn't appear in our life, didn't bring a disastrous moment in our life, I think all of us would graduate. So it is sad, no, that they choose working instead of studying because of pandemic, since we all know that life with COVID, with the pandemic, has brought disaster to us. It affects our livelihood, our studying, and all. It affects our life. So COVID really sucks. Therefore, that statement is true. And the last one is math is fun. So, is math really fun? Or is it true or false? So what do you think, guys? Some answer is true, some is false. So, let's leave it like that. Math is fun. It can be either true or false. So, let's find out. Based on the activity that I have shown earlier, guess what is our lesson for today? So, anyone? So, our lesson for today is about truth table. So, what is truth table? Anyone familiar? Does truth table ring a bell in your mind? Is it familiar or did you tackle this? Some of you tackled this, but most of you didn't. So, let's go further. Before we proceed, I would like to read to you our objectives for today's lesson. So, at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to first define logical operators, identify a statement, and construct a truth table. That would be our objectives, and I hope that at the end of the lesson, these three would be achieved. Ano nga ba ang truth table? So, in mathematics, normally use a two-valued logic. Every statement is either true or false. You use truth tables to determine how the truth or falsity of a complicated statement depends on the truth or falsity of its component. So, ang sabi niya dito na ang truth table daw ang nagpapatunay o ang magpapatunay kung ang statement ba ay may katotohanan o wala. Complex compound statement can be composed of simple statements linked together with logical connectives, also known as logical operators. Take note. So, similarly to how algebraic operators like addition and subtraction are used in combination with numbers and variables in algebra. Conjunction and disjunction or negation not, implication if and then, and biconditionals if and only if are all different type of connectives. So, kung sabi niya, kung sa algebraic operators may plus and minus, sa logical operators naman, meron logical or merong connectives na conjunction, disjunction, negation, implication, at biconditionals. So let's proceed. Independent simple components of a logical statement are represented by either lowercase or capital letter variables. So, ang variables daw, ang letra ay maaring malaki o maliit. These variables are independent in that each variable can be either true or false, independently of the others, and a truth table is a chart of all possibilities. Sabi niya dito guys, na ang truth table daw ang nagpapatunay at naglilista ng lahat ng posibilidad na maaaring katotohanan ba o hindi. Therefore, if there are n variables in a logical statement, there need to be 2 raised to the power of n rows in the truth table in order to list out all combination of each variable being either true or false. For example, if there are 2 variables p and q, and the truth table will also have 4 rows. So, as you can observe here guys, I have only 2 variables. What it is? So, our 2 variables is the P and Q. T and F are not variable there. They are the representation of truth and the F is false. And that they are possibilities. So, how to determine the rows? So, as you can see, P and Q, that is 2. So, we have the formula 2 raised to the power of n. So, the number of n there is the number of variables. So, how many variables we have? We have 2 variables, right? So, 2 multiplied by 2 is equals to 4. Therefore, we have 4 rows which contains the possibility of the statement. So, did you get it? Did you get it? So, good. So, now let's proceed. Constructing a truth table. So, first, we have the negation. So, negation, P we have true or false. So in negation, you only need to negate the variable or negate the statement. So if the statement or the variable, the statement or the variable, not variable, the outcomes or the possibility is positive, then let's make it negative. And if it is negative, then let's make it positive. That's how negation works. So as you can see, guys, so we have variable p is true. If we negate that, we have false. Since that is true, then if we negate it, it will become false. And if it is false, if it will be negated, then it will become true. So in conjunction, we have two variables here. So p true true, f false false, and q true false true false. That's two that are constant. So the possibilities there, or the way that it was distributed, are constant. If you would construct a table with two variables, so that's how it really looks like. So take note on that. Now, take note that in conjunction, the statement will only be true if the P and Q is true. Otherwise, it would be false. So as you can see here, the P and the Q is true, therefore the conjunction is true. So if P is true and the Q is false, therefore the conjunction is false, since it says that the conjunction will be only true if both P and Q is true. So let's proceed. The P is false and the Q is true. Therefore, the conjunction is, yes, false. So, if both are false, therefore, the conjunction would be also false. So, here in this junction, let's move on to this junction. So, P and Q, true, true, false, false, and for Q, true, false, true, false. As I said earlier, that is constant and given. So, we should repeatedly, or we should copy that in making or constructing a table. Now, unlike the conjunction, disjunction is different. They are totally opposite to each other. Disjunction said that the statement will be only false if both P and Q is false, otherwise it would be true. So, if P is true and Q is false, therefore it is true. If P is true and Q is false, therefore the statement is true. If P is false and the Q is true, therefore the disjunction would be true. And if both P and Q is false, therefore it is false. Take note that this sign is in a statement form. If we write a statement, the negation, this sign or the negation would be not, or equivalent to not in statement form. So the conjunction, or this symbol which represent the conjunction in a statement form, would become a connectives which is and the other one is or. So take note on that, guys. As I explained earlier, the number of rows, or how to get the number of rows. So 2 raised to the power of n, where n is equal to total of variables. So as you can see here, guys, in conjunction and disjunction, we have only 4 rows. So the fifth one, or the PQ, is not computed, since that is the given, and we only need to get the possibilities. That's why we have 4 rows. So if you ask, sir, how about if we have 3 rows? If we have 3 variables, then we should copy the formula and substitute the number of n to the total of variables. So if we have 3 variables, so 2 raised to the power of 3 would be 2 times 2 equals to 4 times 2 would be 8. We have 8 rows. Are we clear? Good. Now we will have an example of statement. So here, let P is equals to all crows are black and Q, they are sign of bad luck. Now we are dealing with statement itself. So if we negate that, if we negate P, what will happen? So as I said earlier, P would be, if it is negative, then the statement will become positive or totally opposite. Now all crows are black. If we negate that, it will become not all crows are black, right? So the two are opposite. And let's have Q. The Q is they are sign of bad luck. So if we negate that, we will have they are not sign of bad luck. Did you get how negation work, guys? Let's just put not, since that is the representation of the negation, and as we discussed earlier, negation would be if the statement is true, then we will make it false. And the statement is false, we will make it true. And if it is positive, we'll make it negative. And if the statement is negative, we will make it positive. Just like vice versa. So conjunction. O, P, and Q. That's how we write conjunction in a variable form, rather. All crows are black and they are sign of bad luck. So as I said earlier, N is the representation of conjunction in statement 4. That's why if we will write an statement using conjunction, we will use N. So how about in disjunction? So in disjunction, P or Q, we will have a statement, all crows are black or they are sign of bad luck, since or is a representation of disjunction. So let's have another example. So let P is equals to Mobile Legends is a good game, and Q, all kids are prone to mobile games. So if we negate that statement, we will have P, negation P is equals to Mobile Legends is not a good game, which is the total opposite of the P earlier. Did you see it? Did you see the difference? Okay, very good. So in Q, we will do the same. All kids are prone to mobile games, and if we negate it, not all kids are prone to mobile games. So how about in conjunction? P and Q, Mobile Legends is a good game, and the connectives of and which is the connectives or the representation of conjunction, would be used this time since we will be having conjunction. Therefore, the statement look like this. Mobile Legends is a good game and all kids are prone to mobile games. And the disjunction is Mobile Legends is a good game or all kids are prone to mobile games. Did you get it, guys? So, pretty easy, right? Yes. This part here seems easy. So, let's move to the hard one. Now, we will determine the statement using truth table. Let's combine what have we learned earlier. Earlier, we learned how to construct a table. Then we tackle about how to make a statement using the different rules and connectives. Now let's use both of them. So we have example number 1. Determine the conjunction P and Q and disjunction P or Q of the statement. So we have the statement earlier, let P is equals to all crows are black, and Q is equals to they are sign of bad luck. So do you think that all crows are black? Yes. Let's assume that, or let's say that all crows are black. The statement P is true and they are sign of bad luck, the statement Q is also true. Let's assume that like that. So in conjunction, how we write? How we determine the how we would determine that statement? So first, let's construct a truth table. So P, true, true, false, false, and the Q is true, false, true, false. P and Q are the conjunction. So if P is true and Q is true, therefore the statement is, or the conjunction is also true. If the P is true and the Q is false, therefore it is false. And if the P is false and the Q is true, the statement or the conjunction is also false. If both P and Q is false, therefore the conjunction is also false. So we assume earlier, or we say earlier, that P and Q are both true. So therefore, the statement is also true, since the conjunction said that if P and Q is true, therefore the conjunction is true. So let's move on. Now in this junction, P, true, true, false, false, Q, true, false, true, false, P, or the disjunction, Q. So the disjunction rule that if both P and Q would be false, therefore the disjunction is false, otherwise it will be true. So if both P and Q are true, therefore it is true. If P is true and Q is false, therefore it is true. If P is false and Q is true, therefore it is true. But if the P is true, if the P and Q is false, therefore the disjunction or the statement would be false. And we assume earlier that P and Q are true, therefore the disjunction is also what? Yes, the disjunction this time is also true. So another example. Determine the conjunction P and Q and disjunction P or Q of the statement. So our statement is, let P is equals to Mobile Legends is a good game, and Q, all kids are prone to mobile game. So let's assume that, or let's say that Mobile Legends is a good game. True? Okay. So all kids are prone to mobile games. This is false. The statement is false because not all kids have the same privilege, have the same rights, since we know that life is unfair, life is unbalanced. There are kids who are in the street, nothing to eat, so they could not afford to just play mobile games just like the other kids. So I say we should say that this statement is false. So in conjunction, how to find if we will find or determine the conjunction of that statement. So P, true, true, false, false, and Q, true, false, true, false. P and Q. So if both P and Q is true, therefore the conjunction is true. If the P is true and the Q is false, therefore the conjunction is false. And if the P is false and the Q is true, therefore the conjunction is also false. And if both P and Q is false, therefore the conjunction is also false. So, since we say that P is true and Q is false, therefore the conjunction is also false. So how about in disjunction? So P, true, true, false, false, Q, true, false, true, false, P, the disjunction of Q. So if both P and Q is true, therefore the disjunction is also true. If the disjunction P is true and the Q is false, therefore it is true. If the P is false and the Q is true, therefore it is true. But if the disjunction is both, but if the P and Q is both false, therefore it is false. So, did you get it, guys? Okay, very good. Let's have another one last example. Now we will be using negation, since all we use in the previous example is not negated. So Mobile Legends is a good game, okay? All kids are prone to mobile games and not Q. This time we will finding the conjunction P and the negation of Q, and the disjunction P or the negation of Q. So we will have the Q negated. So how to negate the Q again? Yes, we will just make the statement opposite. So all kids are prone to mobile games. Not all kids are prone to mobile games. Now they are quite opposite. So P is true and the negation Q is also true. Okay. The conjunction now, finding the conjunction. So now we will have an additional column and rows, since we will have a negated Q. So for P we have true, true, false, false, and for Q we have true, false, false, and for negated Q we have false, true, false, true. So how to find the conjunction of P and negation of Q? So if P is true and negation Q is false, therefore the statement is false. If both P and negation of Q is true, therefore the statement is true. If the P is false and the negation of Q is false, therefore the statement is also false. And if P and negation Q is false, therefore the conjunction or the statement is also false. So this time we said that P is true and negation Q or negated Q is true. Therefore the conjunction this time is also, or the statement is also true. So how about in disjunction? In this junction we have P true, true, false, false, and the Q true, false, and the negated or negation of Q is false, true. And in this junction we tackle, or I said earlier that the statement would be only false if both P and Q is false. So if otherwise the statement would be true. Now P is true and negation Q is false, therefore the statement is true. If both P and negation Q is true, therefore the disjunction is also true. If both are false, therefore the disjunction are false. And if P is false and negation Q is true, therefore the disjunction or the statement is also true. And since we are fine, we claimed earlier that P is true and the negation Q is true, therefore the disjunction this time would also be true. So here's another example. Unlike the previous example, we use statement. This time we will use only symbols and variables. So as you can see, there is nothing statement here in this example rather. So we will find the negation of P and Q. So P is true, true, false, false, Q true, false, and the negation of P is false, true. Now the negation of P and Q. So we disregard P here, since all we need is negation or not P. So if negation P is false and the Q is true, therefore the statement is false. And if both negation P and Q is false, the statement is also false. And if both negation P and Q is true, therefore the conjunction rather is also true. And if negation P is true and the Q is false, therefore it is false. Now let's proceed. P and Q, or Q. So P true, true, false, false, Q true, false, and P the conjunction or and Q true is equals to true, and true false is equals to false. False true is equals to false, and if both P and Q is false, therefore the conjunction is also false. So let's assume here that P and Q will serve and will be represented as our P, and the Q here will stay at it is. So if both P and Q are true, so it is true, right? But if both are false, therefore it is also false. If the P is false and the Q is true, therefore it would become true. And if both P and Q is false, it will become false, since the disjunction since the disjunction said that if the statement are both false, or if P and Q is false, therefore the statement is false, otherwise it is true. Okay, now let's proceed. So this is the last example. We have P and, this is the conjunction, and Q, negation Q rather. So P true true false false, Q true false true false, and the negation of Q is false true false true. So we have P and the negation of Q false true false false. So if P is true and the negation Q is false, therefore it is false. If both P and the negation Q is false, therefore it is true. So if both are false, it is also false, and if the P is false and the negation Q is true, then the statement or the variable is false. So I guess we are done with our discussion. Do you have questions or clarifications about the truth table? How to construct a truth table? The statement about the connectives? Do you have some clarification question about it? So it is very quiet. I guess that there is no question about the discussion. So I will give you an activity and you will answer this in 10 minutes. I will give you 10 minutes only and pass it to my Facebook account, in Messenger rather. Send it to me through Messenger, or send it to me through Messenger. My Messenger is Shamir Eborda Lim. Send it there. I will be the one who checks it. So let's have an activity. So part 1. Prove the following statement using truth table. So you have to prove the following statement, and it should be supported by a truth table. So we have the first statement here. Let P is all subject span, and let Q math is not a subject. That is our first statement. The second statement is let P is equals to all cats are black, and let Q is equals to black cats are bad omen. So for part 2, construct the following using truth table. So we have one P, the open parenthesis, P and Q close parenthesis, or not Q, or the negation of Q. So number 2, open parenthesis P or the negation of Q, and the third is open parenthesis P or the negation of Q close parenthesis and not P. So timer start now. So I guess that would be it. I'm very honored and it is a pleasure to meet you guys. I'm very lucky to have a smart student who did really catch up to my teachings. I'm very grateful for that, and I see most of you or all of you did really show some interest in my discussion. I'm happy for that, guys. Thank you so much. So thank you for cooperation. See you when I see you. Have a good day and please keep safe. God bless.